What would you do if Oddbox accidentally sent you 2 boxes? This is part 1 of my 4-part fruit and veg box series. I've ordered 4 boxes from the country's top providers and I'm comparing them for usability, flavour, value, mission achieving, and subscribability. Yes, I just made up that word. From Oddbox, I ordered the large fruit and veg box for £26 including delivery. And here's what I got. I've put approximate supermarket prices after each item. 5 ripen at home avocados, 5 conference pears, 6 salad tomatoes, 265 grams of green beans, 3 collard greens, 1 mini watermelon, 6 easy peelers, 1 bunch of radish, 1 butternut squash, 1 large pineapple, 1.25 kilos of potatoes, 1 small cauliflower, and 770 grams of onions. That totals about £19 in supermarket prices. On a straight supermarket comparison, the Oddbox was around 34% more expensive. I'm sure that when I first heard about Oddbox, the appeal was that it helped reduce food waste, whilst also potentially saving you money. But looking at their website now, I don't see the money-saving angle being pushed as strongly. What I do see is a lot more about rescuing produce and paying growers fairly, which is good, but the word fairly is also quite a subjective word. And this is where I think it gets interesting. A lot of the items in my box were labelled as too many, rather than actually odd or wonky. Having worked in the fresh produce supply chain, I think it's worth explaining that growers don't usually exist just for one supermarket order. They tend to have a mix of customers: retail, wholesale, food service, processing, juice, ready meals, and so on. So if something doesn't meet the specifications of the fussiest customer, usually a retailer, that doesn't automatically mean it's going to landfill. For example, a pineapple that can't be exported might just go into juice. That's still a market. It might be a lower value market, but it isn't waste. And that's why I think this phrase, at risk of going to waste, is doing a lot of the heavy lifting. It doesn't mean the food definitely would have gone to waste. It means it was at risk of going to waste, and that can be quite subjective. However, I don't want to be unfair, and home delivery at this scale is very expensive. Oddbox isn't a supermarket with thousands of stores and a massive distribution network. Once you factor in packing, delivery, customer service, and a more complicated supply chain, I can see why it might cost more. And the quality was genuinely very good. The pears were sweet and full of flavour, the easy peelers weren't too sour, the watermelon was juicy rather than grainy, the produce definitely tasted better than I expected. So here are my scores. Usability, 9 out of 10. Most of the items were things I would actually buy and use, and you can substitute items before delivery on their website. Flavour, 9 out of 10. The box tasted really good. The radishes weren't as peppery as I'd like, but I feel like that's a minor complaint. For value, I'll rate it 7 out of 10. The supermarket was cheaper, but the box includes delivery, and that's convenience. Mission achieving, I'll give it 7 out of 10. I do believe some of the produce was being redirected to a better value route, but I'm not convinced everything in the box was at high risk of being wasted. Subscribability, 8 out of 10. It's easy to use, fairly affordable, and customizable. Overall, I liked Oddbox a lot more than I expected, but I think value depends on what you're buying it for. If you're buying it to beat supermarket prices, I don't think this is the box for that. If you're buying it for convenience, variety, good produce, and to support an alternative route for surplus fruit and veg, I can see the appeal. So Oddbox gets a very respectable 40 out of 50 on my veg box rankings. For my next video, I'll be trying Natura's peak season box at almost double the price, so make sure you're following to see that.